Hello, welcome to Little Vintage World, and this video is going to be my January 2020 reading wrap-up of all the books that I read in the month of January that haven't featured or are not about to feature in either their own little book reviews or like history book reviews, you know, collated sort of thing. So I'll get straight into it. I'll do my best to leave links to these books in the description bar below, but we'll see how we get on because I know that's not always possible. Right, starting off, I started January by rereading my favourite book of all time, and that is Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day by Winifred Roxon. If you didn't know that this is my favourite book of all time, I have read it so many times. So this book is from the 1930s and is about this woman called Miss Pettigrew, who by trade is a governess, and she needs a new job. So she goes to an employment agency and she's like, can I have a new job please? And they have two possibles for her, either a maid or a governess, and she goes to what she thinks is the governess role, but a woman opens the door and it's Delicia Foss, and Miss Pettigrew gets swept into her world, a world of sex and drugs and cocktail parties and fashion, and it's just wonderful. It's the different lives of the 1930s, you know, the older Miss Pettigrew, who is very firm in her way. She's a vicar's daughter. She doesn't like swearing or frivolity or things like that. And then we have the very fashionable bohemian Delicia Foss with her beautiful ways and her many men and her drinking habit, and it's just wonderful. It's funny, it's warm, it's charming. It's just my favourite book ever. It's just the perfect read for me. I've read it so many times and I just love it so much. It even has illustrations in it. Yeah, I just adore it. So I had to give it a reread because I didn't manage to get to it in December, but I'm so glad that I did manage to get to it in January. So yeah, that's 5 stars. Of course, if I had to say that anyway. Don't think I did. The next book that I read in January was We Are the Beaker Girls by Jacqueline Wilson. I used to read Jacqueline Wilson a lot as a kid. This is the follow-on from Jacqueline Wilson's previous book that she did about Jess and her mum Tracy Beaker. That's the reason why I read it, because it's got Tracy Beaker in it and I like to see where she is now. This literally just followed straight on. It was really good. I like the illustrations, I liked where it went, I like the charm of it. It's good. If you're a fan of reading Jacqueline Wilson when you were younger, then pick up these books because they're nice. They're fast little reads and yeah, they're good. Then I did some more rereading. I reread Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, but I read it for the first time in this lovely illustrated edition. It's really nice. I do have to say though, the text is really small. I don't know if you can see that, but it's really small text, so I'd have to read a little bit, then kind of stop because it gave me a headache. But I haven't reread Pride and Prejudice, and this is my favourite Jane Austen, and because I haven't reread it for a little while, I thought I've got to get to it and I've got to give it a reread. So yeah, I'm very happy with that. I now want to try and find and get my hands on an illustrated version of Northanger Abbey because that's my second favourite. So that is due a reread as well. So yeah, I love Pride and Prejudice. If you don't know what it's about these this family called the Bennets, and there's 5 daughters, and the mother, Mrs. Bennet, is wanting to get all of them married off to wealthy gentlemen, and as lo and behold, as luck would have it, Netherfield Park, which is the big country manor house, has been let to a man called Mr. Bingley, who has thousands of pounds a year, and he brings with him his friend Mr. Darcy, who has £10,000 a year, and she wants to try and get her daughters married off to them. So yeah, it's wonderful, it's charming, it's warm, it's witty, I love it. So yeah, it was due a reread, so yeah, glad I got to it. Then I have to say a little bit of a disappointment next. I have Park Lane by Frances Osborne. Now this is historical fiction. It is set at the early part of the 20th century, and it's set in a house in Park Lane, which is in London, and it's about these 2 women. One lives upstairs and one lives downstairs, so one's a servant and one is like lady of the house, and it is about both their movements within the suffrage community. I didn't love it. I was so disappointed with this. I was gutted. I was hoping I was going to love it because I've heard lots of people talk about it, and I've heard lots of people talk about her other one, this one, and I I've seen these books everywhere and I thought, I think they're good, I'll give them a go, but I was really disappointed. I didn't feel like there was any real character development here. I didn't care about any of the characters. I got quite bored. I really wanted to love it, but I just didn't. So yeah, very sad, but yeah. And now I don't know what to do with it. I don't know whether I should give it another go and reread it or just get rid of it, because it's not great. If you've read it, let me know what you think of it, and if you liked it, because maybe it just wasn't for me, or maybe I was reading at the wrong time. Is there a wrong time to read a book on the suffragettes? I don't think so, but yeah, still. Anyway, then I fancied something really light and easy to read, so I picked up this. This is The Gruesome Truth About the Tudors by Jillian Powell, and I think it's illustrated by Matt Buckingham. And I picked this up because of the illustrations. I thought they were just very funny and sweet. My favourite ones, if I can find it, which I can't now. Come on, here we go. Tudor Grooming. I thought this was just a wonderful, wonderful spread. It's fun, it's charming. If you've got a little one in your life interested in history, get them this book because it's lovely. Then I reread this big beast. I reread Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, of course by J.K. Rowling, but the illustrated version by Jim Kay. I need to put this down. Ow. So I have, of course, have read Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire quite a few times, but I've never read the illustrated edition, and as it came out last October, I was like, right, let's get to it. I kind of forgot how long it was, to be honest. I always have this bit of a lull in the Harry Potter books. I love 1, 2, 3, then I think 4 and 5. There's a bit, I feel like she could have taken stuff out of 4 and 5, not gonna be honest. And then my favourite is 6, so yeah, it goes like, woo! It's still really good, but it's just not the amazing books like I know the other Harry Potter books are, so yeah. But it was really, really nice to read it in this beautiful illustrated edition, because that just makes it oh so special, doesn't it? Does anyone know when number 5 is coming out? Because I don't know what to do now, because I really want to reread my favourite, which is the 6th one, but should I wait for the 5th one to come out if that's coming out later on this year, and then I can read 6, or yeah, I don't know what to do. Anyway, yeah, I reread that because it's just great. I had a proper month. I had a proper month of rereading, didn't I, in January? I did more rereading in January than I did in December, and that was meant to be my month of rereading. Bonkers. And then, oh, finally, if I stretch over, another disappointment. I read A Petrol Scented Spring by A.J. Close. Now, I'd heard great things about this. I really had. It is, again, historical fiction about the suffragettes. And something that I really liked was that there was doctors involved in this. So doctors that were involved in force feeding. It's in this book. And it is in this book, but this book is so higgledy-piggledy. So we have different people telling their different stories at different times. So you'd read a section, you'd be like, hold on, who's this about? What year are we in now? It needed, like, the chapter, instead of like 1, like it says 1, we needed so-and-so and then the date. That's what we needed. We didn't need 1, 2, 3. It just gets so confusing, and it just got to a point where I was just so confused. I was just like, I don't care anymore. Yeah, it wasn't for me. So yes, that is all the other books that I read in January, apart from, you know, my historical fiction, my history non-fiction, my classic crime, and maybe some others that I've had separate book reviews and stuff. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments, all things bookish, and I shall see you soon for the next video. Take care. Bye for now.